We have 16 under the radar prospects for Dynasty Leagues up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Saturday, September 7th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and we have 16 under the radar prospects for Dynasty Leagues. And I'll throw these at you, Scott, in groups of 4. Beginning with Michael Arroyo, a second baseman with the Mariners, Drake Baldwin, a catcher with the Braves, Jackson Baumeister, a pitcher with the Rays, and Demetrio Crisantes, a second baseman with the D-backs.
Oh, I want to talk about all these guys, but I can't. Okay, so let's start with Jackson Baumeister of the Rays, who came over from the Orioles in the Zach Eflin deal. Always had an explosive fastball, but since joining the Rays, his control has vastly improved. Great strikeout to walk ratio with his new team, going deeper into games too. And Jackson Baumeister looks like he's emerging as a legit pitching prospect. Demetrio Crisantes of the Diamondbacks is a little further down the minor league ladder, but he reminds me a lot of Christian Campbell, who is a second baseman with the Red Sox, my favorite breakout prospect of this year. Crisantes is a couple years younger, a couple levels behind, but I think a similar skill set, good on-base skills, great hit tool, and emerging power.
Next group includes Moises Chase, a pitcher with the Phillies, Bo Davidson, an outfielder for the Giants, Peyton Eales, a second baseman with the Twins, and Just Nixon Garcia, an outfielder with the Red Sox.
So, Bo Davidson of the Giants is 22 years old and has spent most of this year at low A. So he's old for his level, and you always have to be wary of that. But it kind of makes sense given that he played football in college, played baseball too, but not as dedicated to baseball as a lot of prospects. So a little more raw. But he had a stretch this year that he missed time, I presume, because of injury. After coming back from that, Bo Davidson hit .446 with 7 homers, 4 steals, and more walks than strikeouts at low A. Very athletic player, obviously, and I think he's somebody to take seriously despite his low level. And finally, not finally, but the second I'll choose from this group of 4 is Justickson. Did I say that right? Justickson Garcia. I was practicing it before the show. It's a name that has a Y and an X and an H and crazy spelling. In fact, Justickson Garcia's nickname is the Password, which I think is just tremendous. One of the best nicknames that's ever been conceived. Guy has a lot of power. He's made it to Double-A this year. Has added a few miles per hour onto his exit velocities, puts good backspin on the ball. That really helps his power to play up too. Swings a little too much, doesn't walk enough, but doesn't strike out a ton either. So definitely see that Justickson Garcia potentially becoming a corner infield option for the Red Sox, or maybe trade bait.
All right, next group includes Chen Wei Lin, a starting pitcher for the Cardinals, Chase Meidrith, a third baseman with the Red Sox, Tre Morgan, first baseman with the Rays, and Alejandro Rosario, a pitcher for the Rangers.
So Tre Morgan is unusual among first base prospects in that his standout tool is defense. And he doesn't have a lot of power either, not what you'd expect from a first baseman. So is he going to get an honest chance in the majors? I can't say for sure, but he does have a really good hit tool and has walked more than he's struck out this year between 3 levels. The whole profile, I think, is kind of reminiscent of Yandy Diaz. And I don't know if he hits the ball as hard as Yandy Diaz on average, but in terms of the kind of power he's actually going to get to. So if there's any organization that would appreciate that, you'd think it would be the Rays, given that they've dedicated playing time to Yandy Diaz at first base for most of the past few years. Alejandro Rosario is a big riser among pitching prospects in the Rangers organization. Was not drafted early in 2023 because he had bad numbers at the University of Miami, but apparently they weren't really optimizing his arsenal there. The Rangers have had him elevating his fastball instead of pitching down in the zone, and they've also brought back his splitter. That's his information provided by Baseball America. And the results have been tremendous. Alejandro Rosario, as of this recording, 13.1 K per 9, 1.3 BB per 9.
Sounds pretty good to me. Last group includes Chandler Simpson, an outfielder for the Rays, Travis Sykora, a starting pitcher for the Rays, Ian Seymour, another pitcher for the Rays. Wow, lots of Rays on this list.
Sykora was the Nationals.
Yes, you are correct. That's my bad. And Steven Zobak, a pitcher for the Royals.
Okay, so let's talk about Travis Sykora. He may be known to some draft enthusiasts out there because he had one of the higher rated fastballs in last year's draft class, but the control has been better than I think was expected, and he seems to have a really good splitter, I believe it is. Just the bottom just falls out of it. It's like a trap door. And he's been particularly good in his last 7 starts at low A, a .78 ERA, .58 whip, 15.1 K per 9, a 24% swinging strike rate. These low A ball hitters just can't touch Travis Sykora. And since the fastball is legit, I think that that points to a especially high ceiling here. And then I'll talk about the other Rays pitcher, Ian Seymour, kind of opposite end of the spectrum, because he is a shape over stuff prospect is what I'll call him. A left-handed pitcher is Ian Seymour, doesn't throw a particularly hard fastball, but it comes in from a lower angle, good rising effect at the top of the zone that makes it play well beyond his velocity. Also kind of hides it in his delivery. So Ian Seymour, another Rays farmhand from back in the day, Joe Ryan, kind of reminds me of a left-handed version of that, and that the numbers throughout his minor league career have just been tremendous, but he doesn't earn particularly high marks as a prospect. It's worked out for Joe Ryan. It might work out for Ian Seymour as well.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again next week. Bye-bye.